All right, everybody. Welcome to Overthinking Games, podcast about what games can teach us. We've got a very exciting series of events happening today. We have another guest on today. We have Fierce Axolotl. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Fierce. I use they them pronouns. I am, as I like to call, a fiercely kind person. That's kind of where the fierce comes from. So it's from kindness. Don't worry. It's not anything bad. So I was born and raised in Mexico, actually, particularly Mexico City, so the capital. And I now live in the US with my spouse and two tabby cats, Charles and Grace. The way I guess I interact the most with gaming, or at least the way you all from the podcast found me, was because I am a Twitch streamer. Mondays and Thursdays is when I usually stream, and sometimes on a Friday stream as well. And I am a huge indie game enthusiast. I love playing a ton of variety of indie games, and the specific genre within that can vary a lot. So from, farming games, Souls-like games even, and platformers a lot, as we're going to be talking about today. And what else? I'm very, very excited to be here. And I feel like I probably forgot stuff, but I'll get to share more about myself the more we chat here and there.
So Fierce it's very good. I like your Hollow Knight playthrough.
Ooh, yes.
Fierce, it's on Twitch, and then your YouTube has all of your Twitch streams, or like a lot of your Twitch streams anyways, which are very nice to kind of put on in the background. These long plays, and just to have you play Hollow Knight is very awesome. I don't know if I'll cut this out or not, but I was born in Michoacan.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love that.
And then my family came up, but so it's also cool having another Mexican gamer on the podcast. That makes me very happy.
Oh, that makes me very happy too. I love that.
We'll start about what we've been playing this week. Fierce, do you want to go first? Talk about what you've been playing this
introduce the rest of ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, hi, I'm Dempsey. And then we have Katie. Do you want to say who you are?
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a special education English teacher, and I play video games and talk about them too.
Oh.
And then Seth.
Hi, I'm Seth. I'm a science teacher. I had 11 and a half hours of parent-teacher conferences today. And then I took a shower and showed up to the podcast. So, we're operating on good energy today. Yeah!
True heroes don't always wear capes.
Fierce, are you ready to talk about what you've been playing this week?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. As you mentioned, I've been playing Hollow Knight. Actually, on my Thursday stream, I call them the tough Thursday streams. I've been playing a lot of challenging games. That's where I've been playing a lot of Celeste before. And actually, Celeste kind of opened me to try other more challenging games, because originally I would play more of the cozy, wholesome genre. So that Hollow Knight is a game that it's kind of dedicated to my Thursday streams. And I've been enjoying it a ton. It is very tough though, but it's just very beautiful and very rewarding, whenever you get a different boss or stuff like that.
Hollow Knight literally hurt Katie. Katie got injured by playing too much Hollow Knight.
Oh no, wait, I need to know the story.
Oh my god. Okay, so when I was doing my student teaching before I became a teacher, I had Hollow Knight on my Switch, and I'd have quite a bit of downtime in between things. I was playing Hollow Knight on my Switch. I was playing it all the time. And and then I started to get sore on my wrist and my thumb. And I was like, oh, I should probably let it rest. I'm probably overusing it. And then I was like, I can't, because I'm in the last third of the game. And if I stop now, I will lose all my skills and never be able to continue. And so I played through it until I gave myself chronic tendinitis, and I had to stop. I had to stop playing all games with a controller for 6 months. It took over a year to get full function of my hand back.
Oh my god, that's such a long time.
Yeah, and I actually, not to segue into what I've been playing, but I started playing Hollow Knight again 2 weeks ago on my PlayStation. And I had to start over because indeed my skills had degraded so far that I was absolute trash at it again. And and I had to start over. So yeah, be careful, kids. Listen to your bodies.
No, but skill degradation with games is so true, though.
Yeah, it's painful. Physically and emotionally.
Yeah, no, honestly, at least for me, like many of these kind of tougher games, kind of going back to what I've been playing, given that they're kind of dedicated to like a stream once a week, I think that has helped me to be, to not have something like you did, Katie, I guess.
Protect yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
We have to take care of our physical forms. We only get the one.
No, exactly. Let's see, what other games have I played? I feel like suddenly my brain is like, no thoughts.
I took you off your flow. I'm so sorry.
No, good. This is more of a board game. I am a huge board game fan, as you can probably see in the background. And one of the games that I play a lot on Steam, that it's a board game version, is called Wingspan. I don't know if you're familiar. I see a lot of people saying yes with your heads. So I play that a ton, like either on my own or with some friends asynchronously. And the Steam version is really good because actually it's also cross-platform. So if other friends have it on other platforms, I can still play with them. I have it on Steam and I have a Steam Deck. So if I want to decompress, just playing on the Steam Deck, it's the best.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I guess besides that, so then I guess kind of related to what I do on my Monday streams, I kind of call them Showcase Monday. So I guess I kind of got to a point within my streaming journey where even though it's still very much a hobby for me, I have like a full-time job. I kind of build like a branding on showcasing indie games. So I do get, a good amount of keys for me to showcase. So almost every Monday is like a different game that I got a key for that I get to showcase. And many of these games are games that are promoted by the Wholesome Games curator. So, very laid back, very niche, but just very cozy. So I played one that's called Garden Bodies recently, where there's just like tiny little garden creatures and you interact with them and it even has like breathing exercises. It's like this like best cozy mindful gaming like
that.
After work. This is what I need, a very big contrast from what I do on Thursdays, right? Or games like Celeste. But I guess that's kind of how I balance it out. Yeah, and again, because of the Monday streams, it kind of varies a lot, but that's the one from from just last Monday.
Fun. That's great.
Awesome. Katie, do you want to talk about what you've been playing this week?
Yeah, it's go ahead, Debsy, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we played a game together, so if we can.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
Ooh.
We did play a game together. We played. We were lucky enough to get a review code for a game called River Tales: Stronger Together.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was super cute. You play as a cat and a fish. And the cat's on land and the fish is in the water, and you have to work together to solve these puzzles. It's super cute little platformer. It's kind of got an interesting, kind of overhead camera, and you're both on the same screen. So it was really interesting working with some of those camera angles for the platforming. It made it kind of an interesting, unique experience. Super cute, really chill. We did struggle a little bit with it's couch co-op only unless you stream remotely on the Steam Deck, is how we did it. And we did find that there was quite a bit of lag, which made it challenging. But I think I'm going to get it so that I can play it with my husband. And I think it's going to be super fun playing it that way. I'm just going to dock it to my TV and then we'll both play with a PlayStation controller. And I think that'll be super fun because it has the bones are super good. I think that'll be fun. Didn't you think so, Dempsey?
So I really like that game. There are some things that I'm going to complain about later. Me and Katie had really different experiences, and me and Seth had really different experiences with this game. So I'll probably wait and talk about my experience more in depth.
My experience was more the idea of what it could be because it was so laggy that Dempsey was yelling at me that I needed to do things. And I was like, I would if I could see. And I wanted to ask him, is this how you are when you play Baldur's Gate with people? Because then you won't have very many friends.
Oh, my goodness.
He's the one who was saying that I was going to be an alpha gamer if he ever played Warzone with me, but now we know the truth.
Yes. It's
so that was fun. I think that'll be more fun in actual couch co-op. Besides that, I've been playing Hollow Knight as my primary game. And there's like, the thing I love about Hollow Knight is kind of there's like these different phases of gameplay. You have like the exploration phase where you're like finding all the cool things and you're learning about the different monsters and how to beat them and the bugs and all the things and looking for secrets. And then you get to the part where you have to fight like the big hard boss and learn that portion of like the patterns and all that stuff. And I like both aspects of the game a lot. And it's nice when I can kind of pick and choose. Like there was a point where I was in the City of Tears and I had to fight the Soul Master up at the top. And I was really tired after work and I was like, I don't want to do that. So instead I went and I was like, I need to get enough Geo so that I can buy this thing from the shop. So I just ran around and farmed Geo. Basically until I was ready for bed, and I got my little lantern thing, and that was great. And then the next day I was like, you know what? Now I'm emotionally prepared to try to fight the Soul Master. And and so I was able to just like focus on that and eventually get through. And at one stage I had just started the boss fight, and my husband was like, Katie, can you come help me with blah blah blah? And I was like, in a minute, this is going really well. And like made it through the first phase, was able to pause, go do my thing, come back. And then so long as like I make a bit of progress every time I play, I feel good about it. And I like that there's so many ways to make progress, because if all I could do was like bash my head against the boss fight and just feel like a loser, I would probably not stick with it as much. It's like I tried to play Celeste. I will get into that later, but it was so hard and I was so bad at it that I literally bounced off like a little Celeste character off of the wall. It was sad. So I like that Hollow Knight has enough forgiveness for people who are bad at games that I can like just bounce around and get better at it at my own pace. And so that's been really fun. That's pretty much it, I think. Seth, what have you been playing?
My story is less exciting, I think. Here, I've not played RuneScape. I'm still talking about it though. I think
okay.
I still.
Are we getting into? It's been 10 days since I played RuneScape. Like,
yeah, no, like actually, I still like. I'm like watching content creators. I'm like watching YouTube videos about it. And I feel like a sober alcoholic, like somebody who's been like sober for a while, but they're watching like cocktail videos on YouTube, and they're like,
oh no,
man.
Oh my god.
They're like, if I could drink, I would have so many ideas for the cocktails I would want to make.
I'd like to refer you back to our unhealthy gaming episode.
Yeah, no, totally.
Hey, I mean, if you enjoy it, like, what else do you want? There's a game that you can play a lot. That's great.
That's such a good point.
Maybe, hopefully.
So I'm still thinking about it, and I'm still like browsing the subreddit, you know, so I'm still like, I think eventually, after it's like been long enough since I've played it and I've like moved on, I think we'll get there. I'm just not there yet.
You could quit anytime you want to. You just don't want to.
Well, like I don't know. It's weird because like I've technically quit. Like I can't. It's the game is like member gated mostly behind like membership, so I'd have to like go. I'd have to like get membership again. Which is a big enough barrier to me because like I'm pretty conscious about like how I spend my money on video games. That. Like, that's a big enough barrier to be like, okay, like, if I'm going to have to do this again, I'm going to have to, like, intentionally pull out my credit card and, like, type the number in to get, like, another month of membership. And hopefully that's a big enough barrier to sort of prevent me from doing that. We'll see, though, in the long term. Otherwise, I've been playing Elden Ring. I think I'm about now, like, 7 or 8 hours into my next playthrough, which is going good. I got a little bit in, and I was like, I've got an idea for like another playthrough, and I'm like, I still have like 80% of this playthrough left to do. So I can't be thinking up of ideas for the next one, because that's at least another like 40 hours of gameplay and a number of weeks out. But so that's been fun, just to play more Elden Ring. I've been playing some Minecraft with some college friends. We have like a realm we play every once in a while. And there was like a big group text that was like, hey, we should all hop on and play together. And I was like, yeah, actually, I'll do that.
Nice.
And then I
What
had
are
a
you
lot
guys
of fun.
building?
It's just like a sort of like floating lake town / like island thing. I built, like, everyone's building nice houses. I built like a little dome that has like the nether contained inside of it, like a nether in the overworld thing. And I was like, oh, I built like a little like research lab to go with it. Just very like science coded.
Does it have like graphics of the speed of light or
No.
Schrodinger's light? Or
No. It does have
you
the
work
nether
on that
breaking
next
out of
time.
its little containment dome, though, because I was like, that seems like something it would do.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you're saying that I
cool.
completely forgot. I've been playing Minecraft as well. It's almost like my day-to-day that I forgot. Wait, this is actually a game. It's not real life. I'm actually really new to it, like just a month in. But a really good friend of mine kind of invited me to his server, and now it's like almost like daily. I play at least like a little bit every day. It's
You
great.
just like go in and do your chores and like
Exactly.
build
I completely
something.
forgot. It's like, oh yeah, this is a game. It's not real life.
That's how it feels. When I was playing a lot of Minecraft back in Jesus Christ, I don't know, like 2011, 2012. We're gonna date Katie, and I'm gonna say that I was in middle school back at that time. But I specifically remember being like late middle school or like early high school, and I was getting like the Tetris effect, but with like Minecraft. Like it was all I could think about was like going home and playing Minecraft and thinking about Minecraft. And like I was like, the world is blocks. And like I was looking at a clock and I was like, I wonder what the redstone behind that looks like. Like I was deep in the Minecraft
Oh
rabbit
my
hole
God.
in like
Do you know what's wild though? Is that the kids are still deep in the Minecraft rabbit hole.
Yeah, I
Like
know,
I teach
it's
middle
sick.
school and they're like still in it. Now they play it on their phones, but thank God we didn't have access to games on our phones when we were in middle school. Like
yeah, that would have been bad.
I would never become a productive member of society.
Same.
Well, I don't know, Katie, are you now?
It really depends on the day. Like today I was tired and everybody else was tired too. So we watched Planet Earth and learned about like the desert zones of the world. They loved it. It was educational.
Oh my
Katie,
goodness.
I was really gonna hit for like a deep dig and like joke about like how behind on like compliance you are or something.
Oh God,
And
please
I was
no.
like, yeah, that's a little too.
That's a little too near. Oh my God. I had this statement. Okay, off topic for 1 second. I did have this
Oh my
moment.
goodness.
I had this moment earlier this week where I was like, they're like, yeah, you can look and see your compliance on this button. And I said, I don't need anyone else telling me how much I'm not doing at my job. And they were like, oh.
Oh. All right. Anyway, that's what I've been playing this week. But Dempsey, what have you been playing this week?
I want to talk about Rivertale of Two Cities. No,
Okay.
Rivertale, A Story of Stronger Together. The Charles Dickens joke was funny. Thank you. I need to. Anyways, Kid Onion Studios were very kind and sent us a code to play their game for free. Thank you so much. I think this is a good game. And I think I wonder, my theory is the infrastructure to make it like a good game that I also want to play might be out of reach for a developer this small. I do not know. But Steam Remote Play is the worst experience I've ever had playing a video game.
It was rough.
It's a bad experience. We tried to play it with both Katie and Seth. This just needs to be a multiplayer title. Like this just needs to have regular. You both download it and you invite each other like just regular multiplayer, because Steam Remote Play is a horrendous way to play this game. Besides that, I think it's very colorful. I think it's really imaginative. I think it's very chill and exploration focused. The secrets are genuinely fun to find. The platforming is satisfying and not challenging. There are some weird quirks to it. Like, you can take damage, but the damage doesn't accomplish anything.
Like, it doesn't kill you.
Yeah. Like, there's like spikes and stuff like that you can hit, but you can hit them as many times as you want, which I think is a strange choice. I think if you approach this as like a very chill exploration focused game where you're kind of just experiencing what this world has to offer through this very scripted, narrow path, and then I think it's really fun. The mechanic of one person having only the water paths and one person having the land paths, I think is a genuinely fun idea, and they do some interesting things with it. I think this game also would really be at home on console, where couch co-op is more accessible. Like on a PS5 or on a Switch that you're used to docking to your TV, I think this game could really find like a proper audience on console. I think for a lot of people, they do not play their PCs with two people. They would play their PCs online with their friends, and the online is so horrific. Like, do not buy this game if you plan to play it on crossplay. Even the review, like when you read the reviews, they say the same thing. It's or not crossplay, but Steam Remote Play, not worth it. If you play with someone in the room, though, it's awesome. It runs well. It's well optimized. My experience, so I hosted it both times with Katie and Seth, and my experience was always the game running flawlessly. Didn't have a single frame hiccup or anything. It's a well optimized game. Make it multiplayer, please.
Did he yell at you too? I just want to know.
Oh my goodness.
No, I mean,
I just want to know.
I'm
just wondering.
Sounds kind of sexist if you tell me, but
okay. Well,
no, you weren't that bad. I'm just kidding.
Well, because I didn't. Okay,
you did
whatever.
Snap at me.
I didn't know if it was the lag.
You didn't know
honestly,
if it was lagging or if I was just stupid. Okay.
that's crazy.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh, no. Anyways.
And besides that, I've been playing more Baldur's Gate with a friend. Too many Baldur's Gate playthroughs going at once.
Now we got to start one.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we're going to try to do a Baldur's Gate playthrough as well. I think Baldur's Gate, every time you play that game, it feels completely different. If you change like the smallest variable in your playthrough, it's like an entirely different strategic experience. Incredibly magical. I played a little bit of Celeste, and it felt like my hands were numb because I haven't played Celeste for probably like a year. And I tried to jump back into it, and my save file, I finished it on my Switch. I started it on my Steam Deck. I got like maybe like 3 hours in on my Steam Deck. I started playing on my Steam Deck kind of like in the, like maybe like the, when you get to the hotel. And by that point, there are certain things the game expects you to be able to do. Because if you play Celeste all the way through, the progression makes a lot of sense. But if you kind of just jump in the middle, it's not as fun. And so I spent a lot of time trying to reorientate myself with that game. But once you do, it feels so good. Like, it feels so fantastic. Fierce, I have a question.
Okay. Go for it.
Do you play with the joystick or do you play with the cross?
I play with the joystick, actually. Although for me, I think it's more because I guess... Well, I grew up with playing a lot of Nintendo games, and I was just used to playing the joystick with those. And then it's just like more intuitive for me. Although I do know of other Celeste players that they prefer even mouse and keyboard at times. Like, I think the variation as to how you play the game is wide.
Okay, cool.
Well, what about you?
Well,
why do you ask?
So well, because I've heard people that have strong opinions about this. Like, cannot imagine playing with the joystick. I play with the joystick because that's just what I'm used to. That's what feels more intuitive to me. I cannot imagine playing with the crosspad.
Right? No, exactly same.
And like the fluidity of just like flicking the joystick around, because how precise that game is. But it felt so good. So I played it for like probably an hour and a half, and then at that point I was like oh yeah, this game feels so fantastic to play. It's a very well feeling game.
You might just in terms of controllers, you might be disgusted to hear that a lot of people who speed run Hollow Knight do so on keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just because it's some of the speedrun tricks are easier to do without having like just like an absolute input. Like left is, it's not like slightly left, it's like full left. So there's like some tricks and stuff that are a little easier to do on keyboard.
I would like to just be able to run Hollow Knight, let alone speedrun it. Like, could I just
Speedrunning Hollow Knight is so much fun.
It'd be good.
There's some great skips in Hollow Knight.
That seems like the most intimidating thing ever, is to like not only like play Hollow Knight at like a healthy pace, but also like speedrun Hollow Knight. That sounds intimidating.
Like here's a really fun one, and then we gotta like actually talk about the episode. But this has to do with like platforming.
Right. Yeah, but it is related. Metroidvanias are just platformers.
Yeah, there you go. So the lady who you buy the charms from, the like the big lady,
like the one that gives you the fragile stuff, or the one who's like, oh, you're so cute, here, have a charm notch.
Yeah, the second lady. Because above her house is where you come out of Crystal Peak, and then you like come back to the main area.
Mm-hmm.
If you die from some of the enemies like that are in the area between like the Guzmother fight and her, because there's a few like enemies walking around, if you die to them, you get your shade. If you do a pogo jump off of your shade, you can then Mantis Claw wall bounce off the tiny ledge above her house and then get to Crystal Peak early.
Whoa.
Holy cow.
It's like a pretty common trick in like the speed run.
Wow.
It's super hard to do, but it's fun to do once you do it, because then you're like, I'm in Crystal Peak early. Whoa!
Did you do that?
Yeah, you have to do it for the speed run.
Oh, that's so
Wait, you did a
cool.
speed run?
Yeah, I told you I used to speed run Hollow Knight.
I forgot that. Wow. Sorry.
No, but that's so
super
cool. Like, I
cool,
feel like
Seth.
speedrunning games is like playing the game so differently, and I admire people that do
It's
that.
so much fun. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
So, I guess we can talk about speedrunning and different ways to play Hollow Knight specifically, but the topic today is platformers, and I wanted Fierce to be on this topic because Fierce has played. You've beaten every, like, all of Celeste, like all the expansions and everything?
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah.
So at least like on Steam, I do have 100%. But then something that it's not included in the 100% is getting the golden strawberries, which for those that don't know, for each level, if you don't die, well, you unlock the golden strawberries after getting. I'm kind of trying to think how much I'd explain. So, the base game, right, has different chapters. And then, you get to the credits at the end of chapter 7. But then there's other chapters that you can play after. And when you get to a certain progression within the chapters, you can play like the B side of the chapters. But then you can also play the C sides of the chapters, which, the B is harder than A and C is harder than B. So it just gets harder. But anyhow, when you complete, if I remember correctly, when you complete like chapter 8C, so like the hardest side of chapter 8, is when you unlock golden strawberries for each level. And what that means is that if you collect that strawberry in the beginning, you will be able to actually like obtain it if you finish the level without dying, like the whole level.
That's awful. That sounds horrible.
So that's something
goodness.
I've only done for like 3 or 4 levels, and that's not included in the 100%. So I haven't done that yet. But outside of that, yes, I have 100%ed the game.
Do you, when you die, can you make it to where it takes you right back to the beginning of the level?
Oh, yes. In the golden strawberry situation, yeah, it's kind of designed that way, that if you die, it's all the way from the beginning. Exactly.
That's insane.
Oh, I can't imagine how it must feel to be like right towards the end and then have something go wrong. It would be heartbreaking. Oh, so with like platformers, like I didn't play a lot of platformers. I played Mario, like Super Mario World when I was a kid, on our old like Super Nintendo. But then I didn't really, and I played Bubsy, which is also a Super Nintendo game. And then after that, I never played another platformer until Hollow Knight. And I find the platforming levels the most challenging, and I will often give up. I don't know how you do that on stream in front of people. I would be paralyzed.
No, I guess like, well, I mean, I feel like I can talk so much about like I feel like so honored that you invited, but I'm like I have like too many thoughts about this.
No, tell us. We want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, and I guess for me, so I actually didn't even play that many Mario games. Like I'm like my very first platformer. Oh my camera! My very first platformer was Celeste, and
wow,
for me, the story and the way it kind of talks about, understanding yourself and how much and all the inner struggles that like the main protagonist Madeline goes through. That story I very much connected with. So I'm someone that like I've had so much anxiety in my life that when I started going to therapy, I'm like, I don't have anxiety because it was just such my normal state of being. And it's something that, I've been in therapy for over a year and I've learned that I have anxiety now. But I guess I say all of this because the story was so connected to me and how I deal with my anxiety that I think the platforming aspect of it and those struggles almost helped me reflect with my own anxiety. And I almost connect each level and the difficulty of the platformer with how difficult it is to deal with my anxiety and how it's not going to be a thing I'm going to resolve on like my first try or on one day. Like it's going to take a lot of practice. And I think for me, just among many other things that I love about the game, just the narrative being so close to the gaming aspect and the platforming aspect is what made me really appreciate platformers and that like, persistence and determination that now I can almost take with my day-to-day life of like, if I'm having a really bad mental health day, it's like, no, like it's just going to take time for me to be at a better state. And I need to like be patient with myself and be patient with my own battling that's telling me otherwise. So yeah, I guess all of this to say is that like the story for me played a big role in me really enjoying the game.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really beautiful. That makes me want to try it again because I did try it and I tried it to the extent that I didn't know there was a story because I couldn't get into it. Like it was like the door was locked for me. So I need to try again with that in mind for sure.
No, and actually I do want to make a point on that because the very first time I picked it up, it wasn't on stream. Yeah, I'm so used at like cozy games that I'm like, wow, I keep dying. I'm terrible at this game. And I just like didn't even went through the first chapter. But then it was kind of like a coincidence that when I started streaming, some of my friends really liked the game and really pushed me to try it. And then I guess actually kind of connected to streaming it, I think just having already people that are my friends that really are passionate about the game kind of made me be like, okay, like I should really push myself to try it. I mean, there's a reason why they're recommending me this game. And this was when I very first played like all the way to the credits. And it's a game that like has always been in the back of like my community. And each time I've been playing more and more difficult sections of the game and met more people that are really into the game. So I guess it's actually something that like, even though it's challenging and yes, if I'm doing a very difficult screen, like I won't be able to read chat at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that like people enjoy almost being part of that whole like sometimes even 3 hours for like the very difficult levels or even more of just like one screen. Like they kind of enjoy seeing like the persistence and being there cheering me up for it. And also in some cases understanding how difficult it is because they've done it as well. So yeah, like unintuitively enough, I think it does actually go along really well with streaming.
That's awesome. I think I would have stage fright. That's awesome though. I love that. It sounds like your community is very supporting. Like they know they're there with you in it, getting it done. I like that a lot. That sounds great.
One of the things that I love most about this game is that if you tell someone what the story is and what the premise is, it does not sound very meaningful. Like the idea of like, oh, it's about this character that has internal struggles that they kind of externalize by climbing a mountain. Like that sounds like very like elementary level, like really,
Symbolism.
but it's not though. But it's not. And it can, and I think a lot of people connect with Celeste very deeply in ways that feel like it's such an obvious narrative, and it's such an like there's something so obvious about it that like hearing it, I don't see how that could be meaningful because it lacks some kind of nuance or whatever. But I think for me, Celeste taught me how video games can explore ideas that nothing else can, because like the effort and the experience of playing that game like is the theme of that game. Like it's not like literature. It's not like cinema. Like you can't like dissect the theme of that game without experiencing it yourself, and without and that's like that kind of blew my mind when I first played this game. I was like, oh, like what this game is saying to me is something that I think only a video game can say, because only a video game can require this much commitment and sacrifice and like failure, like constant failure. Because like, yeah, like I think it just seems like a very simple, like straightforward story when you're like, yeah, it's just trying to climb a mountain. It's a metaphor for getting over anxiety. But then you play it and you're like, oh no, like there's like a lot of nuance to this. And like, there's a lot of meat there because of your experience with the game, which as far as like what video games can do is so fascinating to me.
Dempsey, do you think that it has similarities to Undertale in that way, that the struggle and like the frustration is part of like the point? Because like in Undertale, when things go wrong, like it tells you like be what is it, like be perseverant or something like that.
Sure, kind of. I think so. I have kind of a. So I'll just talk about Undertale for a little bit, but I think Undertale is a little bit more literary. I think Undertale, like you can kind of break down and analyze the text of that game and get a lot of value from the analysis of the text of that game. With Celeste, I think the text is like such a small part of what that game says. So like I think games like Undertale is like, I think it's a beautiful game, one of my favorite games, but like you can do a literary analysis and someone who has not played Undertale can kind of understand what you're talking about when you talk about like, it's kindness is sometimes arbitrarily more difficult and you do not get rewarded for kindness. And why do people choose kindness even when they're not rewarded for it? It's like a big theme in Undertale because you don't get to level up or gain any experience if you be kind to people. And I think that's like a literary theme that people can understand. But no, I think Celeste is like, it's really hard to explain to people without them playing it. I don't know. Fierce, do you agree with that? Or like, how do you feel about that?
No, yeah, I agree. But also, actually, you're talking about kindness, like something that I really like about Celeste is that even though it's very challenging, like it does want you to succeed. Like it does have that like kindness portion of it, in the sense of like, in so many other games, like if you die, they make a big deal about it. It's like all black, game over, all like it almost wants it wants to make you feel bad about dying. But Celeste, like there's even like a loading screen, I think in chapter 3, that says like, be proud of your death count. It shows how much you've learned to get better at the game. And it just has this like kindness component to it amidst the challenge that I wish more games had that mentality. Like it being a challenging game doesn't take away from the fact that it can still like, again, want you to succeed and want you to go through struggles and sometimes take hours in one screen. And regardless of how good or bad you are at platformers, again, like I remember I would play Mario games and I don't know, like it was something that has never been really intuitive for me, but just that kindness aspect for it really pushes me through in levels that like I wouldn't have thought otherwise. Because yeah, you die and then you immediately like it takes milliseconds. It's like super fast and you're like back to the beginning. And then I guess kind of going back to the mechanic and the challenge of it, it also helps, at least it teaches me and I think others that progress is not linear. Like you're gonna get better, but that doesn't mean that like, oh, if you died like 2/3 of the way within a screen, then the next time that you retry the screen, you're gonna die slightly further. Like, no, sometimes you're gonna go back and die in kind of earlier areas that you're like, wait, but I already knew this. But yeah, no, like dying in areas where you already know how to accomplish doesn't mean that you're not making any progress. Like the progress might not be as visible. And it's something that like I can also take to my day-to-day life. Like progress is not always visible. Progress is not linear is something that I think is very clear when dealing with precision platformers, that then going back to how that's like a lesson that you can really only experience in a game. Like, because you are going to be literally moving a character and constantly dying, constantly replaying the same screen over and over. And then acknowledging that that it's not going to be linear, but also knowing that you have the capability of getting to the end because you're learning. Like for every death, you're learning and getting better at it, makes it for me worth it. Like if I take 10 hours, like I don't care. Like I'm enjoying knowing that I'm learning and knowing that I'm getting better.
Do you ever get frustrated?
So sometimes, but for example, I feel like with Celeste, not as much because of that kindness aspect that I know the game wants me to succeed. Because in Hollow Knight, there's been times where like,
yeah,
I felt like betrayed. I felt like attacked without giving any spoilers. Like I think I see something that shouldn't kill me, and then suddenly it starts killing me, or I think I killed an enemy, and then it's like, oh, stage 2. So when I rage or when I get angry at games, it's almost like something unexpected happens. But no, also Celeste being such a good, like it being designed so well. Like I know every time I make a mistake, it's fully my fault. It's not the game being laggy, kind of what we were chatting. It's not the game having slow input. Like it's all my fault. And that makes it not be as frustrating for me.
Nice.
I think that's, I was going to say, I think this conversation is interesting because we've had versions of this conversation before. And anytime it's now ingrained in my head, anytime we talk about Celeste, I think about Darkest Dungeon. A game that is like so tonally different from Celeste. But like it, to me, like Darkest Dungeon is a game that is in the same realm of thinking, but it approaches it in a totally different way. Like Darkest Dungeon to me is ultimately a game about like perseverance and like understanding that like not everything is in your control, and like some of that you need to let go. And that like, yeah, sometimes you're going to be like taking your party through a dungeon and they get absolutely swiped due to no fault of your own. And it's okay to let that go. And then sometimes you might run back your B team and then they get absolutely swiped. And that's just how it goes sometimes. So this idea of like, there is not necessarily like a linear path to success, and there are different pathways we need to take it. And I think Darkest Dungeon is a game that teaches you that very differently. Darkest Dungeon is a game that's a little bit more of like, it is definitely a game that is not as kind about it. It is a game of tough love almost.
Darkest Dungeon is a lot more arbitrary because well, they're also wildly different genres, but in Celeste, like you have all the tools you need to succeed, and there is a clear path forward, and you have so much agency. In Darkest Dungeon, a lot of that agency is ripped away from you.
So I have a question about that. In Celeste, is there only one like correct set of like, I guess, moves or pattern of moves to get through a level? Like, can you only beat the level one way and you have to figure out what that way is, almost like a puzzle, and then basically like perfect your skill to be able to do it, or can you complete it in more than one way?
Actually, I can answer that. That's a good question. I think there's definitely like a more direct way in many cases, but even like in further levels where the precision is such a big component, like I've noticed that the design does tend to be created where like there's at least two like clear paths, or more that you can pick. But no, but I think saying that though, there's definitely like in some cases there's a very clear one way to do it, and hence it does have that puzzle aspect to it in some cases where in the beginning you kind of first have to figure out, okay, like wait, how do I get here? And then once you figure that out, then it's about perfectioning that.
I was also
Seth,
gonna.
did you ever play it?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Did you ever play Celeste?
I've played, Katie, I'm sort of like your experience with Celeste. I've played a little bit of it. I enjoy games that have platforming, but I don't know if I really like platformers, if you guys know what I mean. Like I've played a lot of Spelunky, which is definitely like a platformer game. There's a lot of other sort of like roguelites that have platforming generally. Like a big one that comes to mind is like Rogue Legacy, has a lot of platforming. And I'm sure I could come up with a slew. Like Hollow Knight's a great game, and I've played through Hollow Knight and speedrun it, and that's got platforming. But a lot of like pure platformers, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I'm really not a fan of like traditional Mario games. They just have never really like captured me. I gifted Dempsey Thomas Was Alone for Christmas, and like that was a game that I played like a little bit of, and then like never really got back to. I just don't like puzzle platformers. I've played a little bit of Celeste, and I was like, I get it. Like, I understand why people enjoy it. It's just like not my thing.
That surprises me because you are so mechanics focused in the way that you approach games. It would make me think that it would be 100% your jam.
Yeah, I know, right? It's one of those things I've always thought was weird about myself. Like, I like games that have platforming, but if the focus is the platforming, I'm always kind of like, eh. If it's secondary, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. But yeah, never a primary thing for me.
It's so interesting because I feel like with the Souls likes, which I will include Hollow Knight in, regardless of your censure. Like I feel like the fights are, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you have way more experience with this, but I feel like the fights are similar in that like you have to learn the pattern that you have to use and the timing and become fluent with that and kind of precise with that. And you would think that it would carry over to platforming, that it would be just applying the same skills in a slightly different way. But there is something so much more terrifying and frustrating about knowing that you have to hit the right exact spot or the spikes are going to kill you, compared to like timing your hit to avoid, their super attack or whatever. And I'm not sure what that difference is, but I find platforming so much more stressful.
Oh, no, because it's funny. For me, it's completely the opposite. Just kind of adding to that, like I do think it's considered Souls like the only, so I do tend to play games that are, no, not Celeste, not Celeste, no, sorry, but.
No, Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
No, Celeste is a Souls-like.
Shut up,
Seth. So I guess I had kind of like to get a bit more background. So regardless of the game genre, something that I'm definitely more captivated by are games that kind of like look pretty or have like a nice aesthetic. So that kind of has led me so that the only like Souls-like game I played is Tunic. I don't know if you're familiar with Tunic.
I've wanted to play it, but I haven't played it yet.
So that it. And for me, I almost find it the opposite as you, Kate, that like after playing Celeste, I'm like, okay, I should actually try other hard games. So then I kind of tried Tunic, and it's also one of a game that I really, really like. But no, that's where the actual like rage comes in. Like in Celeste actually doesn't come as much as like when I'm dealing with the boss and like, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's the other way around. I guess that's my point.
I think one of the things that hits me differently when playing, like even like VVV or VVVVVV or Thomas Was Alone, or like any things that are more just platforming focus and don't have any combat, I see them as more puzzles than I do like aggression towards an enemy. And for whatever reason, that aggression towards an enemy, I am a lot more likely to be frustrated by. Whereas if I see it as a puzzle that I can kind of figure out what to do and try to train my thumbs what to do, like there is something a lot more zen about it. Like I can die a billion times in Celeste and that's just the game. But in Hollow Knight or something like that, no, it's this character who keeps killing me. And there's something so much more frustrating about that.
Even though the antagonist in a platformer is the environment, and the antagonist in like a boss fight is like the other character. Like there's still an antagonist, but one feels more like it's personally directed against you.
Yeah, my point almost there was going to be like, because again, I don't really like puzzle games. Like I'm not, which is it's not a Katie dig. Like we've talked about this before. Like I'm just not like a puzzle person. Like I don't really like puzzles in real life. I can't.
That's why he's a science teacher.
Well, like there's difference in like scientific curiosity and discovery, but like most of the time I just can't be bothered. Like I'll sit down with a puzzle for a little bit, and then eventually I'm just like I've stopped caring. Like I'm gonna move on with my life. And so that's the problem I run into a lot when I play puzzle games is like I'll play it out to the point where I'm like, okay, like I'll try and figure this out, but I have no qualm with like I can't figure this out. I'm gonna go find the answer so that I can move on with the rest of the game. And if it's like a Souls like an action adventure game that has like a puzzle in it, like I'll try for a while and then I'm like, I want to play the rest of the game, so I'm just gonna go like look up the answer to the puzzle, which doesn't bother me. But if it's like a puzzle game, then that's the game is like figuring out the puzzles, and I just don't care. So, and I think in my head, like the difference between something like Celeste, like a sort of like, I don't want to call Celeste a puzzle platformer because I don't think that's a really accurate descriptor of it. But a sort of puzzle in the abstract sense, right? Like the puzzle in Celeste versus like the puzzle in something like Elden Ring, where like there's a boss you're fighting in Elden Ring versus like the puzzle in Celeste is like the environment,
the pathfinding.
It's and like pathfinding almost. I think it's different in my brain for like the literary conflict of like I have something I'm fighting, like man versus man conflict versus like man versus environment, and like I'm willing to engage with like a man versus man conflict, and I'm like not in the man versus environment. Like the environment doesn't care and doesn't like fight back, which is like frustrating to me at times because I'm like
I'm like just beat it.
Yeah, because like if an enemy beats me up, I'm like that bastard just killed me, and I can't say the same thing about the environment because like I'm the one who ran into the stationary spike. So like there's nobody to be angry at except for myself. But when an enemy in a game kills me, I get to blame the enemy in the game. I'm like the people who made this game are idiots, and I don't know why they gave such a tiny dodge window. And then I beat it, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
You're like, then you feel good about yourself because you're like, I'm good at this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's that depends though. This is my whole other puzzle problem. Is I feel like I don't get this is off topic. This is a little too deep about myself. I don't know, but I feel like when I complete and I think this is why I don't like puzzle games. I don't get like satisfaction out of completing puzzles.
You don't have that moment where you're like, I'm so smart.
No,
I figured it out.
Anytime people talk about like stuff being satisfying, I'm like, I don't get it. And this is very true for me. People talk about like the cathartic experience of like spending hours on an Elden Ring boss and beating it. The only thing that I get from spending hours on a boss in a video game and then beating it is like, oh, now I get to play the rest of the damn game. Like there's not a feeling of satisfaction for beating the boss. The feeling is like I'm satisfied because I can now go play the rest of the game. And those are very different sets of motivation. I don't like puzzles because it doesn't feel good at the end of it. It's just like, okay, now I can move on.
And especially, I guess, like, you're mentioning all of this, like, now that I think of, like, my other online friends that really like Celeste, most of them also really like puzzle games. I didn't, like, there's definitely something to that effect of what you're saying.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, I wouldn't call Celeste, I mean, Katie, you play a lot of puzzle games. Would you call Celeste a puzzle game? I mean, you haven't played a lot of it,
Well,
but...
I haven't played enough of it, but I think it must be a bit, because you have to figure out what way, like Fierce said, that there's more than one way you can do it most of the times, but you have to figure out the path that's going to work for you. So you are solving a problem. The problem is, how do I get from here to there? And you're figuring out that puzzle to find out the way that works for you. So I think that it would count in that way, because I think part of what makes puzzles to me fun is the element of like exploration and discovery, and like experimentation. You're trying different things. You're trying to figure out, you're trying to put yourself in the mind of the person who made the puzzle and like, what is it that they want me to do? What were they thinking about? And trying to figure it out that way. And doing that to me is extremely fun. And I get a big rush out of it that when I figure it out, I'm like, yeah, all right. You know, like I feel smart or capable, whatever it is. And I find it really enjoyable. I think with platformers, because I'm so bad at them, I don't have that really positive feedback loop very often. But I think that if I were to give it a try and were to develop my skills, I think I would probably find the same experience, that it is like a puzzle. And I finish it and think, ha, I did that.
It's just now occurring to me that this is definitely like I should go see a therapist at some point. But I was like, I've always been a person who's like really bad at routines in my life. Like I'm really bad at keeping habits. And I wonder if like the positive feedback loop in my head is messed up. Like the reward center in my brain that's supposed to be like, hey, you did a good job for like accomplishing this task is like not working properly.
No.
No, actually, I
don't
do think
like
that
puzzles.
I think that's something. Well, I don't know, but like I know, like for some neurodivergent folks, that like reward is not as immediate. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I deal with that all the time with my students that are neurodivergent. And you have to figure out a different way, like for them to feel rewarded for doing the thing that they have to do that they don't want to do. And that's a tricky one. Yeah, for sure.
A little deep dive on Seth's life.
I know.
Maybe I should take advantage of those like healthcare benefits I pay for.
Yeah. Fierce, did you have anything else to say about the lack of an antagonist and how that impacts your frustration on the game?
yeah. No, I guess like for me, it's like the opposite of like the antagonist is myself, and like finding and not only myself, but like the part of myself that's not being kind to me and is telling me like you can't do this, like why are you trying, which is very much what our friend Madeline here represents for Madeline, trying to keep kind of spoiler free how the game kind of progresses with that realization, and it almost like it has taught me to be kinder to myself. And for me, that's a very powerful thing that like a game taught me, with just platforming and spending hours getting better and better at like, at like the precision and the different areas in the game. So yeah, for me, there's almost like this level of mindfulness really to it.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like the definition of a growth mindset that, you know, you're learning and practicing and failing. And instead of taking that as a reflection of oneself in a negative way, you say, oh, look, I tried, and now I'm going to try again. And taking that to move forward and progress. I think I think I'm wondering, Seth, if there's like, I'm not going to psychoanalyze you, but like this like internal dialogue that we all have with ourselves and about ourselves. That
It sounds like you're psychoanalyzed.
Yeah,
I'm not, but I'm not saying choose. Okay, take Seth out of the equation then. But I mean, think about it.
So Seth, we're not talking about you, but if in theory on this abstract person,
On
what do
an
you
abstract
think?
person, we all have dialogues that we keep about ourselves, and when we're faced with things that we feel like reinforces a negative impression that we have of ourselves, it makes us feel bad. So if your feeling is, or someone's feeling when they're doing a platformer, is that when it's them against the environment, well, it's just me that's failing and I'm not good at this, or I'm wasting my time because I'm never going to get this. Like, it's that negative sort of conversation with ourselves. Whereas if you're looking at it like the way that Fierce is talking about, as more of a, well, I tried, now I've learned and I'm going to keep trying. It's a more positive and kind sort of discourse. I just think, like, because I think that's why I get frustrated, because I'm like, oh, I'm bad at this. I should just quit. Like, and if I was doing it on stream, I'd be like, oh my God, everyone thinks I'm so bad. Everyone's laughing at me. They're like, why can't you do this? And I would be a mess, because I would have that horrible conversation with myself.
No, but exactly. Then I guess I'll just say that then for me, like that conversation and being able to kind of find like a positive way to change that conversation, for me actually has also made me better at all other games, even though they don't have that same like metaphor embedded in the story.
Right.
So
It's like your mindset as you approach games, which I think is just really lovely.
Yeah, and that's why, like, again, like the whole podcast being overthinking games. I've definitely overthought about how much I've learned in Celeste and
We're
how it's
overthinking
made
a
me
lot
better.
right now.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Seth.
no. So I think we can kind of give our closing thoughts, because we're past time.
Nah.
One of the things that I really love about Celeste is it legitimizes kindness in a way that's really cool. So, like, I think cozy games, a lot of times cozy or kind or gentle or soft games are not necessarily about skill progression. They're about like relaxing and finding time to not be challenged. And I think there's a part of like the gaming sector that sees that as like a less legitimate way somehow to
Those are
interact with video
gamers
games,
with a little
which is
g
obviously insane.
instead of a capital G.
Yeah. But I think one of the really cool things about Celeste is like it's a very prototypical video game, right? Mario has been it's a very prototypical challenge-based video games. And like it's not only kind, but it's kind in really like deep, thoughtful, meaningful ways that like I think there's this idea that like depressing or dark things are somehow more deep sometimes than kind or lighter things. For whatever reason, that's a really common thought process in our culture, that things that are dreary or deal with really dark subject matter are somehow like more deep, thoughtful experiences. And I think Celeste is like a great look at like why that's not true, and why you can be like very kind, very empathetic, and make like a strong, powerful case for why those things are important to narrative and to video games, and are still like one of the most legitimately challenging video games ever made, and is like a good video game on like a technical level. I think for me, that's Celeste really helped change the way I see video games from that aspect as well, where it kind of like it's a very deep, powerful, moving experience that's not like dark and depressing. Anyways, so that's kind of my closing thought on Celeste. Fierce, do you have like a thought that you want to close on?
Oh no, that's such a hard question. I guess well, before I go over my thoughts, I just wholeheartedly agree, and I think like just that intersectionality of like it's kind but tough. Like I know one of the things of my channel is like, or one of like the phrases is that we take kindness seriously, and it very much aligns with like Celeste, and ultimately even very much aligns with like the kind of like the mindset of so many of my community members, and it's just this like really cool dynamic of kind of going back to what Katie was saying, that like people are going to be there no matter how long it's going to take you to succeed. I know it's such a hard question because I feel like I have so many things to say. I guess maybe like another thing that I guess is not directly related to platformer that Celeste does really well is that like the devs are such a great listeners of the community, and there's so many members of that community that build giant mods that feel like an entire different game. The one that's very popular now is Strawberry Jam, which is it feels like at least lengthwise it's probably like 3 or 4 times as long as like the base game. Like it's these like giant levels, fan made by like, I don't know, I think like 300 plus people that just do this because they love the game, the base game. And actually it was because of me trying out this mod, was it last year? Yeah, last year, that made me realize, oh wow, like, and then these mods being like in a more in between level with respect to like how good you're at the game from what I played before and the other B and C sides of the game, that I'm like, wait, I'm actually better than I thought. So I should actually go back to the base game. Like all of this to say, like the fact that like the fan made game based off Celeste is what made me actually 100% the game says a lot about like how supportive the community is overall. And I mean, just I think that speaks for itself as well. And I just love that the community is so supportive, and that the devs are supportive of the community as well.
Oh yeah, that's great. I think you have made me really want to try Celeste again and to give it like a really good faith effort. Because I don't think that I gave it enough time the first time that I tried it, because I didn't really understand it. And I feel like after talking with you guys about it today, like I understand it in a different way, and it seems like something that I really want to experience. So thank you for that. Dempsey's been talking about Celeste since we started podcasting, so he's probably like rejoicing inside finally.
I know, like you're saying that it's such an honor, like I'm so excited.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to try that. And I've just loved the way this conversation has focused so much on kind of that relationship between the player and the game, and the way that there is a conversation that's always kind of going on. And I like that the conversation that the devs are having is like, be kind. It's okay. Keep trying. And that feeling of like, you have, obviously like tech support, but then the devs are really supporting the gamer to complete their game. They're like, yeah, we know it's hard, but just keep trying. And I just think that's really lovely. And it's a lovely mindset to have with games in general, as especially approaching those more difficult games, instead of, well, get good, it's kind of a more, well, just keep practicing. You'll get there. It's a lot nicer, even though the end result is going to be the same, that we get really good at games. So you've made me also, I've wanted to stream, and I've tried a couple of times sort of half-heartedly, but I've really shied away from it because I'm not that good at games. And I'm like, nobody wants to watch somebody just struggle. like, and I'm like, well, actually, maybe people want to struggle along with me. Maybe I'll try it. So I just appreciate your vulnerability on that. So.
Oh no! If you stream, like, please let me know. I'd love to check your streams. Anyone here?
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. How about you, Seth?
I think what I've learned tonight is that I need to go see a therapist. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I haven't had a lot to contribute to the actual conversation at hand because I played Celeste and I didn't like it, and I don't like puzzle platformers, and this was not my night.
No, but I
You
actually
did a
do try,
good
like that's
job.
okay. Like I think
No,
like there's so
yeah,
many
it's-
different types of games out there, and like for example, actually, I think it was you, Katie, that mentioned this in the podcast, and I felt understood. Like Outer Wilds was one of those games that it just did not click to
Oh,
me,
don't get
and I'm
Dempsey
like,
started.
I don't
Dempsey,
know.
we have to close soon.
No. I guess I want to say this because like literally everyone else around me is like, this game is gonna change your life, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. It's gonna be like up there with Celeste.
Yes.
And then just the mechanics, just kind of going back to what you said, Katie, like it didn't click for me, and I missed that. I still very much respect it for how good of a game it is. Like I ended up just kind of back being next to my spouse while he finished it, and it's such a beautifully designed game, and like the whole, trying to make it as much spoiler free as possible. Like the whole way it kind of makes you like learn about things and where you are, and understanding the world is so beautiful, but it was just not a game for me. And I feel like Celeste and platformers can be that way for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, Outer Wilds is good. Play Outer Wilds. That's okay. Well, Fierce, do you wanna plug yourself at the end here? You can tell people where to find you. I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite. Fierce makes a strawberry pie, which was a very fun stream that I watched on the YouTube channel.
I'd be so happy. Yeah, so I bought like the deluxe edition of the game, and in it came with like kind of like the booklets that you would get in older games with like information about the characters,
Oh, yeah.
etc. And as part of it, there was like the recipe of the strawberry pie that you do see in the game.
Fun.
So I decided to, as part of, I call it the Celestebration, celebrating 1K followers on my Twitch channel. One of the things that we did is, I made the pie, with the Celeste cosplay. So that was really, really fun.
So do you want to plug yourself?
Yes, correct.
Here.
Yeah, so I go by Fierce, but you can find me on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, like pretty much all other social medias as Fierce Axolotl. That's kind of my username. And yes, as I mentioned before, so I stream Mondays and Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. Eastern to 8:30 p.m. Eastern most days, and then I occasionally throw in a Friday stream, especially right now if I've been wanting to play more Hollow Knight, and just once a week isn't enough. So sometimes I add like another Hollow Knight stream on Fridays. Yeah, that's how you can find me.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I had so much fun talking to you about Celeste. Celeste is one of my favorite games. Celeste, we're not going to talk about this, but made me realize that I was bi.
Yes, that's another big part about Celeste too.
Yeah, so Celeste, it's weird to say like how meaningful that video game is, but yeah, weirdly meaningful. So thank you so much for coming on and talk about it. I really appreciate it. If you want to tag us on TikTok or Threads or Instagram, we're in all the socials. All the links are in the bio. If you have a game that means a lot to you, or if you want to email your opinions about Celeste, the email's in the show notes, and it makes our day when you send us those and we read them. We had some fan art, our first fan art. I don't know if we talked about this last time.
I think insufficiently.
Yeah, we should have talked about it. We should have read that email actually.
I have it.
Next week.
Yeah, next
week
week.
We'll read the
We're
email.
at time. We'll do it this time. Next week.
Yeah, but so that's maybe we'll share that. And I think that's all the thing that we say at the end,
Yeah.
right?
Thanks so much for listening. This has been Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. See a therapist.
Okay, I'll stop the recording.